Hi everyone, I am happy to welcome you to this new episode of the Data Roll podcast. Season 2 is in full swing, and as of the date of today when we're recording, we have now entered May. It's time to welcome our newest guest, Clemence Dujardin, Group CEO at My Affiliates. Hello Clemence.
Hi, good morning to you, Stanislas.
So I'm glad to have you with us in the studio. How about a quick introduction? So about yourself, your company, and your scope of responsibilities.
Okay, so I'm Clemence, as you said. I'm the Group CEO of My Affiliates. My Affiliates is one of the leading affiliate marketing platforms. We are based in different locations. So we have an office based in Malta, where we do support and tech support. And we have an office which is based in Brisbane. And the good afternoon, because I'm always in 2 time zones. In Brisbane, they do mainly or mostly the development of the product. I'm also a mother and an activist when I have the time to do that.
Many hats that you're wearing.
Absolutely.
Totally. That's very cool. And also, since our audience is composed of people who are working in many different parts of the industry, but also the iGaming industry itself is booming, growing, and we have many people who are joining the industry and who will be listening this as part of the introduction and getting onboarded. So I have a few questions that perhaps may be a bit general, but I think that they will certainly bring a lot of valuable information. And first of all, about the affiliation marketing, because this is something which is widely recognized as a way of generating traffic and activity across many different industries. But I'm curious to learn, what is your perspective on how iGaming affiliation is different than the ones, for example, in the e-commerce, in hotelry, etc., in any other industries? What's your thoughts on that?
Well, I guess, Stanislav, the main difference is basically that the iGaming affiliate marketing is really based on real monetary value, right? You're not only driving clicks or you're not only driving leads, but you are acquiring players that are going to deposit, and ideally they will stay. Okay, so basically it's creating a performance driving ecosystem. It's not only bringing someone to buy something and once he's bought his shoes, he's gone, but it is actually bringing a player in and making sure that, it keeps on generating revenue for both, the casinos or the sportsbook and for the affiliate himself. So it is basically what I think is the main difference, is that performance driven ecosystem.
Okay. And actually, what was the trigger behind the decision to build the affiliation software from your point of view?
Well, I came into my affiliates a few years after there was the first building block, right? So, but what I know and what I can speak of is what is our drive to make it better. Okay. And I think what is our drive to make it better every day is basically looking at, the ecosystem itself, operators, affiliates, and the struggles into using tools to make sure that they can actually perform and understand performance, because you can only perform if you understand the performance, if you actually the data to make sure that you can take the right decisions at the right time. So our motivation is basically to make sure that we have a tool that is based on transparency, always, that however the operator wants to be transparent with their affiliates so that they make sure that, affiliate can perform, understand. Then we provide that transparency so that we can help both sides of the industry to be performant.
Okay. Now, again, maybe it's a 101, but we have a 2-sided market. So on one side, you have the operators, and on the other side, you have the affiliates. And what is the process of cooperation between those two parties?
Well, as I just said, I think, the best partnerships are based on shared goals and on shared transparency. So operators need to define what the success look like, whether it's, high value FTDs, strong retention, and affiliate needs to adapt, the traffic accordingly. And this needs to be, of course, a two-way streets where discussions happen, where operator understand the affiliate and affiliate understand the expectation of the operator. So, they actually need a good platform that enable that feedback loop in almost real time, right? Today we work in a very fast world where, affiliates invest a lot of money in, in PPC, for example. And this is why they need the tools to be able to say, okay, these are, the clicks that we're getting almost in real time, or this is with pause back tools and whatever. They need to understand the FTDs, for example, to make sure that, they can adjust their campaign and make quick adjustments to make sure that they don't lose money. So this is, what needs to be done.
Okay. And then when we take a look from the affiliate perspective, when it comes to the marketing teams, what do you think are the necessary skills, the most important competencies, and especially with respect to the iGaming sector, and how does it differ versus others?
Affiliate marketing teams now are on both sides, right? On the operators and the affiliates. And I think from the operator perspective, it is very important that an affiliate manager understands the need of their affiliate, understand that affiliates are not only there to bring traffic, but they are people that are their partners and are going to help them and contribute to the revenue of the operations. So good affiliate marketer needs to be people that communicate, that help understand, that provide the right information, the right tool, the right promotions for affiliates to be able to work with. And good affiliates are, the people that understand that, it's not only about, bringing the traffic, but, the traffic needs to have a value, that there is an ROI bottom line like in every business. And also good affiliates are affiliates that ask questions, how, why, and so on and so forth. So it's from both sides.
Yeah, and especially unless we work in a cost per acquisition model, but in any other model, basically both sides will have the interest for the players to stay longer.
Absolutely. Yes. And that's very important. With, I think, what we're seeing that had died for it a bit, but with the revival of hybrid models now, where CPA and where the mix of CPA and rev share are back, that really shows that actually, operators really want those players to stay, and affiliates are ready to invest for players to stay so that their investment becomes a long-term investment and it also has a good return.
And do you believe, since you have mentioned that the main point that makes the iGaming affiliation marketing standing out versus the other industries is that we're looking at the long-term player value, not only about opening the door and getting the FTD. What do you see works better in the market, having one holistic approach to generate that LTV from the very beginning, or rather splitting it into acquiring and then retaining?
It all depends where you are, in which market at the time you are in, right? Because there are cases where you enter a market and you need quick acquisition so that you can convert those players and try your retention techniques. And you are the markets where you have been there longer, where you know your market and you know what you have to do. So it really depends. There is not one solution that fits all, and there is many solutions that is going to fit probably even one single affiliate program, because it depends in which market they are going to operate, whether it's new, whether it's established jurisdiction. Also because, the legal landscape does not necessarily allow to do everything. So yes, there isn't one answer to that.
And what do you see about the different geographical differences, if you could name a few examples, because this is always what interests our audience most, that you have seen how this, approach evolves and changes across not only jurisdictions, but also cultural circles?
Well, it changes because there is education going into the process, right? So when you go in new markets, and let's take maybe Brazil and the States, where you see very, very, very big CPAs being paid on, because it's very competitive and, you need to acquire the player now. And then what you're going to do after, then it's another story. And then you have the more mature market and, the old European markets, I would call them, where, CPAs are lower. Affiliates are more trusting into working in rev shares because they know that markets and they know the revenue and they can plan the revenues on that. So it's different.
Mm-hmm. Totally. Jumping back also to your words, because you have mentioned that the important takeaway for both parties that are on this market, so both the affiliates and the operators, is to look at a joint perspective. Let's say that we have common goals. We should partner up together. And would you name any specific best practices for building those long-term relationships? Like we have the operators, the brands, the affiliates, the partners, the programs. What do you think works the best in general?
communication works the best. It's speak to each other and get away from the old frustrations where affiliate would be seeing operators or people that are going to shape their traffic, detect players and things like this. And operator give more consideration to affiliates into really considering them as partners and not as people that are just to promote their brands. So the best practice, yes, it's speak to each other, get to know each other, trust each other. And I think we're getting there. It's taking time, but hopefully we'll see things changing.
And this especially sounds familiar to me as well, because I have a background historically in the retail industry and in commerce. It's usually been a discussion of win or lose. So it's either one party makes a better end of the bargain, then the other loses some margin, or the other way around. Or if I negotiated better, it's always at the expense of the other party. And I have a feeling that in the iGaming industry, there's much more awareness and understanding that, hey, at the end of the day, if we both grow, we'll both win in this situation. And this is something that I have realized that stands out.
Yes, absolutely. It does, but it's taken a long time to come there. There are still a few frictions and to some point a lack of education on the markets, and on the industry. But yes, now there is the beginning of understanding that it is partnership. There is not a winner and a loser, but more of global approach or, a together approach onto bringing value players and keeping the players playing where they are rather than, just moving them every 3 months to another site. So yes.
Because then they would cash the CPA on bringing, changing just the top one, and there you go.
Yes. And, it used to be like this. It used to be like this, but now, I think affiliates have gone from, single owner of websites to big companies that understand business. It has changed. The landscape has changed a lot.
The consolidation.
Yeah.
Yeah. And also because when we speak about, say, content and different forms of attracting, because the affiliates need to find ways to position themselves as appealing, be it via the content they create, be it visually or something that brings value or information, and to engage the audience. What do you see about the most common and the most successful items that help to drive this engagement, bring those audiences, and actually to redirect those people to take the action, to register and to stay?
To be very honest, I think useful content still perform best, right? And I think in-depth review, bonuses, explainers, comparison guides, I think these are still the top performers. But video is taking off too, and especially with the influencers, with Twitch and TikTok and Insta to a certain extent. So social media has a lot of potential, though we still, struggle with tracking and compliance with those kind of platforms. So it still remains a challenge. I would say top, it's still content until we manage to go around the challenge of social media and influencers.
And would you mind sharing some more light? What are these challenges when it comes to both tracking and compliance for these platforms?
Well, so with content, right? And with a normal website with content, you can geo-target your content, you can geo-target your media. So you can always make sure that you are in line with, the country regulation you are targeting. Okay. So if you have a legislation, how you can advertise gambling in the UK and another one, in Spain for the sake of it, with geo-targeting and geo-compliance, you can make sure that the content that is seen by a potential player in the UK or in Spain is different. When you come with those larger those media platforms, whether they are, TikTok, Facebook, whatever you want, you can't do that, right? The content is going to be available to everyone. So then you become uncompliant at some point.
And that's when it becomes hard to defend, actually, the point that you're trying to make. Yeah?
That's not difficult to defend it. It's difficult to invest money because you're always at risk. So unless you're really into gray markets, and that's fine, and that's what you're doing, but that unregulated market, it makes it much more difficult.
And especially if we take a look at the newest technological advancements. So I don't know how you see it among your colleagues and collaborators. I may be living in a bubble, but among the people that I'm working on a daily basis, people don't ever go to Google and try to find the answer, but they always go for the LLM and let them make actually, the short list and according to the preferences and the history of the browsing that they were making. So how does this reshape the way the affiliates will be positioning? You won't be able to, let's say, create another huge SEO long messages and then count on the same results, because the way people are looking for the information is changing. And how does it affect the affiliation industry?
That's a very difficult question, because I think it's changing right now, right? We're just switching from looking for an information in Google to looking into ChatGPT. So how is that going to change SEO rankings, for example? And I think it's really early to say, and it's a very interesting thing to watch, right? Because I see it from my own daughter, right? Where she doesn't go to Google anymore to look for any information. She just goes straight to ChatGPT. So we're only going to see this effect a few months, maybe a year or two down the line, to really understand the impact it has. So yes, I think these are pleasure we still have to discover and are yet to come to us into how do we adapt to that. And, yes, how do we change our marketing techniques to cater for those changes that are really, really quick and for now pretty much of a black box for everybody.
Yeah, because let's imagine before I could type in a browser best casino Poland, let's say, or best casino Switzerland. Now, if I just do that right away in ChatGPT, I will forcibly bypass the affiliation websites, unless for some reason they manage to position themselves within the engine of the chat in such a strong way that these will never point directly to the operator, but they will kind of channel that traffic via the affiliation. So here it seems that there's going to be a nice challenge.
Yeah, it is going to be a very nice challenge, and I'm really looking forward to see how this is going to be turning out.
And do you see any other technological advancements beyond the large language models or other trends that will definitely shape the future of affiliation marketing?
It's hard to say, because I think affiliate marketing is quite unpredictable in terms of how it is going to be affected, or how the iGaming industry is going to be fully affected by new regulation, wherever it pops up, whenever it pops up. It's quite hard to predict. I think what we may start seeing is cookieless tracking, maybe forcing, a change in the attribution model, and probably also affiliates being more demanding in terms of data and having more real-time data. So being more asking for API first, real-time architectures and things like this. So yes, it's hard to predict. It's there. We see some little trends coming up, but this can change, at any time, whatever the next thing is going to be.
Speaking especially about this first side of the market, so the affiliate marketers, how does the data analytics support the way that they make decisions, and what are the different metrics that they'll be looking at?
Well, what we're seeing a lot, but it has existed for a number of years, but what we're seeing more and more is the introduction of aggregators, right? So affiliates, rather than logging in many, different systems, many different interfaces to get their data one by one, these aggregators, like Stazons, for example, who are, we collaborate very closely with them. So this means that we, as platform provider, need to make sure that they have APIs they can plug in so that they can aggregate all their data in one platform, which makes a lot of sense. Who wants to log into 200 different affiliate programs to get, their data, their payments or whatever? We're going to have to work on real-time architecture, which is a very big challenge, right? Because this does not depend on us, but it depends on the data provider, because we do receive the data from the data provider of the operators. So we can do as close as they can do. So that's a bit of a challenge, but we're pushing for at least have, data which is hourly, which, hourly is quite good, because if you get your registration in real time and then you get your data hourly, it still gives a lot of independence for affiliates to understand where their campaigns are going. So yes, this is, challenges that we need to face and that are entailing with other providers. So we can't necessarily have the solutions ourselves or provide that solutions ourselves.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, from your side, you're a recipient of the data and you have to reprocess. And then also what happens is that you have the dependency based on how the data is getting provided. If this is a stream, which can be accessed in a real time, or this is, let's say, in a batch mode that is just transferred like files or API access and updated every, say, 1 hour, half an hour, 2 hours. But then if we think about it, the time it takes to make a meeting with the colleagues and make a decision anyway, it won't be instantaneous in over a second. And these are not decisions you make like in 1 minute or two, especially at the scale.
That's very true. But there is also, there is another challenge, right? When we speak about KPIs and transparency, we depend on the KPIs the operator or the data provider is able to give us. So when affiliates speak about standardization, this is a big challenge that we can't overcome ourselves if data operators do not come to standardization in what data they are ready to provide for us to be able to display. So you have operators and data providers that are ready to go really the extra mile to give that depth into the data that then we can reflect on our system, and others that still have very, very simple models, which create challenges because affiliates sees reports with a lot of data and jump onto another operator and see limited versions of that. So sometimes they struggle understanding, but why can I see this there and not there? So harmonization is, I think a big goal, which will realistically never happen, but that we should always strive to at least achieve at some level.
And especially then we speak about the exactitude of the data, so that, let's say, you don't end up with having on one side 1800 players and on the other side 2000 players, and where there's 200 missing here. And where do they come from, which channel, etc. And these are like the typical challenges either the operator or affiliate will have.
Well, I don't see many of those challenges. And I think we need to be real and we need to be honest. I mean, very often it happens that a cron job, for example, stops and data is not imported for the last hour. And we have operators that come and say, oh, we have a problem. Affiliates are complaining. I think we're shaving them or whatever. One needs to be realistic that tech breaks all the time, and that, with the maturity of affiliates know that techs break all the time, and that if the data was switched for the last hour, it's coming in the next hour. It's either because the data provider had a problem at his end and the job took longer to run and, the dump was not done on time and it will come. We need to be a bit more relaxed, I think, in terms of, because we are not 10 years ago. These things don't happen, but take breaks. And, sometimes the batch of the last hour did not include all players, but, that's caught up in the next hour or 2 hours. So this is it, install trust to remove those frustration and pressure where people are not, I don't believe that operators are there to, shave affiliates anymore. It's just, take break sometimes, and it happens.
And they also have the interest to think about the long run, because in this industry, this is also one observation I have, the reputation has much, let's say, a bigger impact and potential loss of reputation. And you want to just go and find another new client. It's to some extent, we have a close word.
Absolutely. And in the iGaming industry, the very, very small industry, it's big, but it's very small. And, it's very hard to build your reputation, but it's really easy to lose it. So, I think everyone has understood that, and everyone is striving to make sure that, this hard and very good reputation is not lost just for a couple of hundred of euros. How does that make sense?
Exactly. Wow. I guess that we are approaching the end of today's episode. Thanks a lot for standing up to all of these questions, Clemence.
It was a real pleasure.
The pleasure is on my side. And hopefully we'll be seeing each other at the next IO event, which is coming soon.
Yes, this week. So I'll see you this week.
Exactly. Guys, just to wrap up, today we spoke about affiliation marketing, the different challenges, techniques, technologies, and trends when it comes to affiliation marketing, together with Clemence, Group CEO of My Affiliates. Thanks a lot, Clemence, for coming over, and see you soon.
See you soon.
So, we're signing off for today, and remember, keep rolling with the data.